How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Devin the Bear. Today we will be discussing the Brunson versus Till card that happened this past Saturday, Labor Day weekend. And top to bottom, it was just all around a really, really fun card. I really enjoyed every second of it. It's
For sure.
these fight cards have been really just holding up to, like they've been good. They've been actually consistent. I guess is the word I'm looking
Yeah,
for.
they're good fights, but
Yeah,
there haven't been any like crazy fights that people are going to be talking about,
yeah,
forever.
yeah. And so it's just I think one thing that we definitely will be talking about people will be talking about in the future will be the Paddy Pimblett debut, and we'll
Yeah.
get to that in just a second. I do want to talk about Julian Erosa's Darce choke on Charles Jourdain. That was a slick Darce choke. It was
Yeah,
quick.
it was.
It was nice. I mean, it was just he went in there and he just put it on him all the whole fight, just back and forth. Fight that I wish guys would tune in and people would tune in to watch these prelim fights because these are the fights that people miss out on.
Yeah, I like to refer to those kinds of fights as these are like fighters' fights, not
Yeah.
just for the fans. This is when a fighter watches this fight that you see how technical both guys get, whether it's striking or grappling, and you see how good they are on the mental aspect of the game while they're fighting, and it's really fun to watch, and it always translates well. Their fights are always exciting.
Yeah, and so that's what it was all around a good fight. Though we saw a really good showcase by the United Kingdom fighters. Jack Shore made his UFC debut. He won by decision over Ludwig Schonelinen. And yeah, I mean it was just all around good fight. I actually did miss the Molly McCann fight. Were you able to catch that one?
Yeah, I think she described it best. She landed the cleaner shots, and that was the whole fight, was them just throwing back and forth, but she was landing cleaner throughout the whole fight.
Yeah,
So it was a good fight. I would say it was close, but each round I would say she definitely had a good showing in, so the judges going her way makes
yeah,
sense.
and so it was really cool to see a. I believe she's from Liverpool as well, right?
Yeah, her and Petty Pimblett are like best friends.
Yeah, so it was cool to see another Scouser go out there and get a win.
She ran. We're about to talk about his fight, but
Yeah.
she ran over to the cage side after his win.
Mhm.
Like she was just sitting there ready, watching it, even though she just fought.
Yeah,
She's like, I don't care.
it was.
I don't care.
It was
No
such a good
doctor.
moment to watch too.
Yeah.
So with speaking of that, so getting into the main card, we finally saw the UFC debut of UK's own Liverpool's own the Scouser Paddy the Baddy Pimblett make his UFC debut against Luigi Vendrami,
Vendramini.
the Italian stallion, and this was a good.
He's Brazilian.
Yeah, I don't really get. I was wondering the same thing. Like, I guess I got to do a little research to see why he's called that. I
He
don't
might be
fucking
like half Italian or something. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's probably so many people who know, but we don't. So
Yeah.
so sorry.
He probably has. Probably because of his name is probably why they called him that.
I'll quote Brittany Palmer. Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. And so, which is actually I do want to talk to you about that. So it was a good back and forth fight.
Yeah.
We saw Paddy Pimblett come out straight, and these guys looked like they were ready to throw down. They were staring at each other as soon as Paddy walked in that cage. Those guys locked eyes, and they never
Yeah.
looked away. I mean, it was just a fighter's fight, and or you just a people's fight. You heard the crowd, the small
Yeah.
crowd that was there. They were going crazy for Paddy, and Paddy got really hurt. I won't say he got really hurt, but he got
got cracked
tagged.
with
Yeah.
was it a left hook?
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. You see him get dropped. And I've watched Paddy Pimblett for a long time. I've been really excited for this. So in the first like minute or minute and a half, he gets dropped. I'm like, God, no.
Yeah, dude, I was freaking out. I was like, please don't let this be it.
I think he kind of got lucky because Vendramini kind of rushed him and it initiated the grappling. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, you should have stayed back, walked him down into the cage where he's pinned, and just start wailing on him. But
Yeah.
he initiated some grappling, and instinctively, Paddy Pimblett's got great grappling, whether he's running on instincts or just controlling it. But he did pretty well holding it off, and then going back to standing, he still kind of did the same thing where he had his chin up high and his hands down low.
Yeah.
That's just how he fights. He rushes every single time. He doesn't just throw like a little counter in and out. He rushes.
Mhm.
So it works for him, and he gets dropped pretty bad, comes back from it, and goes right back to how he was fighting, and ends up getting lands some clean shots, which rock Vendramini,
Yeah.
and there's just this whole sequence of him just throwing all kinds of punches,
Yeah.
all kinds of like long combinations, and eventually he gets the stoppage.
Yeah, he knocked him out cold. Like he put him down. He made him face plant. It was a nasty knockout by Paddy Pimblett. One hell of a UFC debut. And what was pretty crazy about watching that fight as well, though, is just, I mean, just showing that he's like you said, he's talked about, like, he keeps his hand low because he wants it to be a fight. Like, he wants to go out there and just put it all out there. But the post-fight interview with Michael Bisping was ecstatic to see him win that, and I thought that was super cool. And like he told Michael Bisping, he's like I always say, I'm a scouser. Scousers don't get knocked out. And Michael Bisping was like, you almost got knocked out in there, man. Like, he can't say that. And but I think Paddy Pimblett made his UFC kind of he's building a lot of hype now just from that fight.
Yeah, and that's what he talks about in his post-fight interview as well, is that he's the new kid on the block. He's the new cash cow. People are going to be calling him out.
Yeah.
So he doesn't feel the need to call anybody out, and I love that. I'm very for it because he's he gets compared to Conor McGregor a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that comparison it's accurate, but I think he's going to go a different route. He's not going to make the call outs. He's not going to go in there and scream and do some wild antics because he's a fighter. He doesn't do all that. So what he shows where he gets people hyped up like that, like Conor McGregor does when he yanked the belt from Aldo and all that crazy stuff he did.
Yeah.
Where Paddy Pimblett generates that kind of hype is in his fighting and in his post-fight interviews.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to do his walkouts like he used to do. So
yeah,
I am curious to see if he's going to make up for a lack of walkout somehow.
What kind of scares me with him though is just like there's kind of a high chance he's gonna get knocked out eventually.
Yeah, if he doesn't work on it, because like I don't believe that the UFC is the only organization with top tier talent.
Right.
But that is where the top tier talent likes to go. So the people he was fighting before is going to be consistently sorry about that. We had a technical difficulty. As I was saying, I really am curious as to see how he handles the new level of talent he's going to be fighting, because UFC roster is not like other rosters because they do have nothing but talent.
Yeah.
There's not like this range of fighters, the unranked pool of fighters. They're not like a bunch of guys who can't fight and they just happen to be fighters. They're all fighters who earn their way there. So, yeah, if it doesn't work on it, I could easily see him getting knocked out cold just because it's one of those things where I do believe he's going to be one of the greatest. But sometimes you got to lose to get there. I mean, look at GSP, the greatest fighter of all time.
Yeah.
Took 2 losses on the way there, but that's part of why he's the greatest. So who knows, man? If that ever does happen to Paddy Pimblett, I hope it doesn't, but if that ever does happen, who knows? Maybe he could just be an even greater fighter after that.
Yeah, because there's guys like Drew Dober I mentioned. Like, I think Drew Dober would give him a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I think guys like Brad Riddell would give him a lot of problems.
They hit hard and they hit consistently.
Yeah.
When you were saying Drew Dober, I was thinking Michael Chandler. You think of Michael Chandler and the power he brings, but he also brings that in like 1 or 2 shots. He doesn't bring it consistently. So the way that Luigi landed that left hook, if Michael Chandler lands that hook, you might not get back up.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
if Drew Dober lands that left hook, he's not going to let you walk away. He's going to keep hitting you.
All. Yeah, he's gonna know how to swarm you. It's more like Brad Riddell, who has amazing Muay Thai. He's gonna be able to know how to counteract that brawler style.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and there's a lot of people really kind of saying, talking about how he's nothing but hype, which I completely disagree with, though. Because if he was nothing but hype, then we would have seen him when he was 21 when he got offered to come to UFC.
Yeah.
We would have seen him when he was 23 when he got offered to come to UFC, and he said he wasn't ready yet because he wanted to come in and make a point.
Yeah.
People feel like he should have finished the fight earlier, and that makes no sense to me.
It's a first-round knockout,
First-round knockout. I was on top of a very, very tough challenge to come in. Luigi Vendramini is in.
Vendramini.
Vendramini. He showed that he has fucking hands.
Yeah.
Like, he hits hard, and so you really can't say that he didn't live up to the hype.
You can go look at his record too, Luigi's record. I'm sorry to cut you off. His record is really good.
Yeah.
He's got several knockouts, several submissions, but also several decisions. He can win the fight anywhere, no matter what situation.
Yeah.
He just has a tendency to go on a winning streak and then take a loss once he himself starts moving up in the ranks.
Yeah, and so it comes down to the next big thing, because we haven't had the next big thing in a while.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Sean O'Malley. That never happened.
Yeah, you have Conor McGregor. I mean, that guy is no longer. He's hyped for the casual fan, the guy who likes to watch the big fights.
Yeah.
And you have somebody like Sean O'Malley. People fucking love Sean O'Malley, but the thing is, he only wants to fight fucking like low tier fighters, and because he's like, I don't get paid the same. Well, welcome to the fucking fight game, dude. You signed a contract.
Yeah.
If that's how you fucking felt. You probably should have worked that out a little bit better. So you have Paddy Pimblett coming in, and he's proving a point, and he's gonna come in there. I think this debut lived up to the hype. Lived up to who,
for sure.
The way I've described Paddy Pimblett to somebody, I ended up actually like finding out my coworker is a huge MMA fan, so I sat outside with him for 20 minutes, like just talking with him. I hope my boss doesn't listen in and hear that, but like. I mean, we talked about.
You work and talk, buddy.
What's that?
Work and talk.
Well, so yeah, and so we sat there and we talked about him, and I was like, he's controlled chaos. Like, it's gonna always be a fight when you watch him fight, and I think that's exactly what we saw.
Yeah.
So
the only thing I will say I'm a little surprised with is there was really no takedown attempt from him.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping to see it just because I know how good he is on the ground.
Yeah.
But he likes to go in there and fight. Maybe it's one of those things where he's like, yeah, if I don't have to take it down, I don't want to. And I didn't feel the need to with this guy. But yeah.
So on to the next fight, we have a light heavyweight bout, kind of a controversial ending, with Khalil Roundtree Jr. defeating Modestas Bukauskas by oblique kick. But the whole fight, Khalil was really putting it on him. He was going there throwing heavy shots, and I'm a big fan of Khalil Roundtree. I mean, the guy has reinvented himself since he started traveling to Phuket to train on Tiger Muay Thai. And, I mean, he showcased it when he fought Eric Anders. He went in there and put it on him. He beat that leg up, just throwing oblique kicks, leg kicks. I mean, of course, leg kicks, but like throwing side kicks to the knees, throwing calf kicks, thigh kicks, all that stuff. He's just hitting them everywhere. And I mean, we've seen some pretty nasty when he has that. Have you seen that knockout he has? I forgot who it was over, but like the guy went for a takedown, he stuffed it. He kneed the guy in the face and then kneed him in the chest while he was out, and it was like it looked like he kneed him in the head.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And so you have Modestas coming in, who's a little younger, and he had a good record as well. He was 11-4 coming in. He's he's a Lithuanian fighter. Actually trains out of England, and but yeah, so it was just Khalil's fight the whole fight. He broke his nose within like the first 20 seconds, and he just beat the shit out of him, honestly. And then so like we talk about the ending of the fight. What's that? Modestas goes to throw a jab, and he was kind of planting his foot weird on the jab and just putting it out there. And Khalil, being as experienced as he is in striking now, threw the side kick to the kneecap, and it bends it the wrong way, and he ended up tearing everything in Modestas' knee. And I mean, you just hear Bukauskas just drop in pain, and just they had to stop the fight immediately. And Khalil knew that it was something bad. He didn't even try to finish the fight or anything. It was a really, really like tough finish to watch.
Yeah, those oblique kicks are pretty controversial. I don't feel like there's any problem with them.
Yeah.
If you're doing them in practice and training and sparring, it's a little bit much. If you want to throw them, just tap. You don't need to do anything more than that.
Yeah.
So it's not one of those things you throw. If you put it out there, fine, but don't throw it. But in a fight, it's fair game because it's a fight and that's a legal strike. So there's no reason for people to have issues with it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But we've talked about it on the show before, and it's one of those techniques that it's always going to be controversial.
Yeah.
John Jones was always throwing them, and it was always controversial when he did it. Rampage had a lot of problems with it. It's just one of those things where it's like the injury that it brings on is so severe that people have issues with it. But at the same time, heel hooks do the same thing.
Yeah. Like you said, Mark Godbeer said it best.
Yeah.
And so he just was like, how are we going to give him crap for it whenever we were just praising what's his name, Sabatini? Pat
Sabatini for it.
Yeah, whenever he completely tore everything from the knee down on Jamal Emmers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things where one technique makes it look bad, and the other one seems more um, like a competitor's thing, like a sportsman.
Yeah.
It's a move, while this one is more of like a dirty strike. But
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you honestly, 100%. I know we went back and forth on it, even outside the podcast. We go back and forth on it, but no, I agree. Like, I mean, it's one of those things where we see it in Muay Thai a lot now that we've talked to guys like Jeremy and Oliver. Like, we've really like watched that sport a lot now, as much as we can to our knowledge, you know. And so it's you see it in Muay Thai. It's just as you said, we just don't throw it in practice. Like when I know that, like when you throw it, like when we spar, like you'll just tap me with it, you know, because it's just like obviously you could fuck my knee up doing it.
Yeah.
And I get nervous every time you do it though, because I'm like, God, please, dude, like I need my leg.
And I would never throw it in a way that would compromise your knee. I'm going to throw it to stop you from moving your leg, because I'm like, you're about to take a step forward and throw something.
Yeah.
Let me stop you before you take that step, as opposed to just after the step or during the step. That way when your foot goes down, your knee comes down wrong.
Yeah.
So again, it's one of those things where it's a kick that if you know what to do, you're going to destroy someone's leg.
Fuck yeah. And I mean, like even the commentators are saying, you know, it's kind of because Modestus wasn't checking any of those
No,
kicks.
his leg was already pretty beat up,
Yeah,
especially his upper thigh.
That shit was looking like raw hamburger meat by the fucking second round, dude. And he what's it called? He wasn't checking them, and then so like they talk about checking it. I don't know the right way to check it, but anytime you've thrown it to me, like I just pick my knee up whenever you throw it, and so I don't know if that's the right way to do it. But even the commentators like he has to pick that leg up, like he's not doing anything when he's
because if, like I said, the issue is when your leg comes down from it, or is as it's coming down when you land it. It's that downward motion that messes with your leg, or your knee specifically, but. When your knee moves down, obviously it's not meant to do that. So if you lift it as it happens, you know, it's kind of a way of checking it.
Yeah, that knee touched the ground before he did. It was fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it was.
It was so bad, dude. And I showed it to my...
threw that hard.
Fuck yeah.
He missed one just before that, and that kick looked pretty hard too. Yeah, and he whiffed on it, but...
He got that second. I showed it to my brother and my dad, and they're like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Yeah, dude. Like that guy's gonna be out for like 9 months at least, and that's probably just training and rehab, like out of training. Like it's gonna be a while till we see him again. So we wish him a speedy recovery as well. But Modestus Bukauskas even said, you know, y'all can't keep giving him slack. Like he saw the move and he kept doing it. Like it is what it is. This is a fight. And Cleo was very respectful afterwards as well because he knew that knee was fucked.
Yeah.
And so
both guys are on board with it being
even
perfectly legal strike.
Yeah,
so I think if the fighter who was the victim of the strike doesn't have a problem with it, I don't think you have much room to say anything.
Yeah.
Not you in particular, but just people watching.
Kelvin Gastelum was very outspoken about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, get your fucking wins up, dude. Yeah, maybe we'll care about your opinion a little bit. But, you know, stop eating so much. So, I don't know. I've been pretty disappointed with him. And so...
Sorry.
No, it's cool. I mean, it's whatever. I guess, you know, the hype isn't there. But so on to the midway point of the main card, we have Alex Morano. He defeated David Zawada by decision, and this was just an all-around great fight by Alex Morano. I really enjoy watching him fight. He definitely put gave me a different look, like different mindset when it came to him as a fighter. When he fought Cowboy Cerrone, because I thought Cowboy Cerrone was just going to walk right through him. And I was very, very wrong, obviously.
And it's kind of two very different approaches to striking, too. Yeah. And the Cowboy fight, you had him throwing a lot of very heavy hands, very heavy overhand right.
Yeah.
Often back-to-back. With this fight, he was very technical. He threw a lot of spinning strikes. He threw a lot of combinations, 1s and 2s and 3s even. So it's cool to see that. He
had a very Thai stance coming in too. Did you notice that? And that was really cool because whenever the Bruce Buffer had announced, you know, he's like, we have a kickboxer in this corner. I thought I always known Alex Morano for his jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And so that threw me off. Like I was like, I thought he was a jiu-jitsu guy because he trains at Gracie Baja Woodlands and he coaches there. Yeah. And so when I see him coming out there and has great stand up and he's doing very, very well, I was like, what the hell? I didn't know. I thought, you know, he just was able to just bum rush Cowboy and just put the pressure on because Cowboy's such a slow starter.
There's a reason he's Fury's #1 color commentator.
Yeah, exactly. it's always cool seeing him there. I think it's so cool that he does that. But also, he is a Houston native, so I mean, we always got to show support for those guys. And but yeah, I mean, it was just, I mean, it went all 3 rounds, but it was just Alex being just one step ahead the whole fight, and he knew that. He also talked about that he's actually a big fan of David Zawada as well, and I think that was really really cool. He said he's been watching David for a while, and he was kind of like, I knew we were gonna cross paths one day. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's really I mean, that's pretty much all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, it's crazy that there's not a whole lot to say about that fight because of how good it was, but it was one of those where it was really good by Alex Morono. Maybe we're a little biased. Who knows? Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, it could be that too. I think Alex Morono, though, he is showing that he's finding his footing in the UFC, and with he's on 2-win streak. So I would like to see him get a top 15 guy next for sure. And so I think that's the most important thing for him, is just see him move up pretty well, because I think he's going to fare well against some of those guys. And so on to the co-main event, we had a heavyweight fight. I always get excited when heavyweights fight because someone's about to get fucked up, or it's gonna be or it's gonna be really boring. And so when Tom Aspinall is fighting, it's never boring. It's always exciting. And he defeated Sergey Spivak by TKO. And Sergey was actually a late replacement for this fight, and Tom Aspinall is coming off of a win over Andrei Arlovski by submission coming into this fight, and then you have Sergey Spivak, who's coming off of a win over Alexei Oleinik in a pretty fun back and forth fight. And right away, though, Tom Aspinall, he has a little bit of hype coming in, and rightfully so. He moves so well for a heavyweight. Guys say that they spar with him, they feel like they're training with a middleweight because of how quick he is.
Yeah.
His footwork, I mean, all that stuff. He doesn't move like a big guy, and so he comes in and he just put it on Sergey. Sergey just really didn't know what to do. Tom was being smart, just using a lot of 1-2s coming in. Then eventually, when the second he gets some space, he lands a huge elbow on Sergey's upper left eyebrow and just splits him open and just jumps in for the kill.
Yeah, it was really cool to see these two heavyweights fight. I feel like they had pretty similar careers before this.
Yeah.
Like you were just saying, they both just came off of wins against really big name veterans of the sport, and Andrei Arlovski and Alexei Oleinik. So even just that is very simple. They kind of parallel to each other.
Yeah.
So they kind of meet here, and it's cool seeing Tom Aspinall with all this hype. But it sucks because on the other side of that, Sergey has like no hype.
Yeah.
And that's because his style, it just isn't as exciting. A lot of his fights go to decision, and he just pummels people.
Yeah.
Whereas Tom Aspinall's never gone past the second round.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it just went Tom Aspinall's way in this fight.
Yeah.
For sure. It was pretty dominant.
And yeah, Sergey's nickname is the polar bear because he fights like a polar bear.
Yeah.
He's a big fucking guy, and he just puts his weight on.
He's the heavyweight, Khabib.
Yeah.
Just heavyweight's not a division where that might always work.
Yeah, it's not a division where you want to be that kind of fighter, you know. So I think with Tom Aspinall now that obviously he's ranked number 13. I mean, what's a good fight you think it would match up well with him?
With Aspinall?
Yeah.
I think him and Stipe would be a great fight.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Tom Aspinall's stand-up versus Stipe's stand-up isn't so great. It's kind of Stipe should win that one. But Tom Aspinall's faster, I think. He doesn't worry so much about getting in close because he knows his grappling will take care of him.
Yeah.
So it'd be an interesting fight because Stipe would be trying to work his combinations, kind of like how he fought Francis the first time around, but for different reasons.
Right.
So it would definitely be interesting. I think that'd be a matchup I'd like to see, but I don't think Tom Aspinall's quite there yet.
Yeah.
Who's like 10, 9, and 8 in heavyweight?
So right now I'm looking at the rankings as we speak, and so Chris Dawkins is number 10. He's already set to fight somebody.
I was about to say that would actually be a really fun fight.
He's fighting at UFC 266. I can't recall who he's fighting. Then number 9 is Augusto Sakai, and number 8 is Marcin Tybura. And so what's that? So yeah, I mean, this is like I don't know if Marcin
Aspinall's not ranked yet.
He's number 13.
13.
And so the guy above him is Blagoy Ivanov, and we haven't seen him fight in a very long
Yeah.
time. He got injured. He's supposed to fight Marcin Tibera back in March, and he had to pull out. So Blagoy can use a fight. He hasn't fought
Yeah,
in a while.
have him fight Aspinall, and then winner gets the winner of Dawkins and whoever he's fighting.
Yeah, and so I know who's that. Dawkins is fighting Shamil Abdurakhimov.
I know the name. I'm trying to picture who he is.
See,
Is he bald
I don't know.
or shaved head, buzz cut?
He who's he beat?
Huh?
His last fight was against Curtis Blades. He hasn't fought since 2019 though. Somehow he's ranked number fucking. What's he ranked? Number 7. Yeah, so.
I know the name. I'm blanking on who it is, I guess, because I haven't seen him in 2 years.
I would like to see him fight Augusto Sakai. Walt Harris is above him as well, though.
I feel like he walks through both of those guys.
I think so, too. But the thing is like, Tom Aspinall kind of said he's like,
he wants to move up slowly.
Yeah. And, I mean, Michael Bisping said it best is you really can't do that whenever you get into the, like, when you're as good as you are. Like, you can't just ease into this. Like, you're either really good and we're going to push you fast, or, you're going to have to fight killers eventually. And he is fighting killers, but, I mean, with as much hype in his head as talent level, I mean, it's just, I don't know, like, he's going to have to get pushed quick. And I think
maybe he should have taken the Sergey Spivak route.
Yeah.
Be a little boring.
Yeah.
Little boring, but dominant.
At least keep your job, Like, I think him and Augusto would be a good fight. I think that's definitely a good fight to make happen. Because I would like to see him kind of ease into the top 10 and then see where he goes.
Where's Tuivasa on that list?
He's not ranked, but he's actually fighting Walt Harris.
Oh, he's fighting Walt Harris.
Yeah,
Okay.
so he's I don't want to see them two fight.
I don't either.
Aspinall and
Oh, you don't want to see him in
Tuivasa? No.
Why not?
I like both of them too much.
I love both of them. I'd love to see them fight. I think that would be fun, because now you see Aspinall fight a guy who throws heavy, and he throws a lot, and he throws fast. Yeah. Tuivasa will surprise you with his speed too, so I think that would be a fun one.
It would be a very fun fight, but it would break my heart.
Yeah, because someone's going to get knocked out cold.
Yes.
For sure.
And I feel like Tuivasa is going to be able to handle that pressure a lot.
I think he would too.
Yeah, I think that'd be a very, very tough fight for Tom Aspinall. And people are already talking about, like, man, Aspinall would look really good against Cyril Gane.
I don't think he would look good.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting once it goes to the ground, because both guys are very good on the ground. But I think Aspinall's got the edge there.
Yeah.
Cyril Gane's striking is just much, much better.
He's levels above all these guys.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. Like, when we talked to Oliver about it, and I even talked to Jeremy, I say this every time, like, because people aren't a big fan of his style. They think it's kind of boring, and sometimes it can be. But he makes these big guys freeze up. They don't know what to do with him. And I think Aspinall just needs to grow a little more in the sport before he's considered top tier. It's hard because, you see this talent. The second they get a little bit of hype, people want them to fight for the title. And it's okay to build up your prospects, let them get up there. And so once Aspinall gets in the top 10, I think that's when we're going to see the best Aspinall. And we're seeing it right now, And, but yeah. So we'll have to just wait and see. So for the main event, we had Derek Brunson defeat Darren Till by submission, by a rear naked choke in the third round. And I don't know. This was, it's a great performance by Derek Brunson. I mean, for a guy that's fucking 37 years old, he's still going out there and still doing it. It's ridiculous.
Just as well as he ever has.
Yeah, if anything, he's doing it better.
Yeah.
He's on a 5-5 win streak now. His last loss was against the champion, Israel Adesanya. And, I mean, the way he's beating guys now, he's actually getting finishes now. They said that he hadn't had a submission win since 2013. In 8 years, he hasn't had a submission win. That's insane to me. And so we're seeing him coming in, and he's just completely just rolled through Darren Till. And I didn't really expect that, but I should have expected that. And it's not really surprising considering what Tyron Woodley, who was a weight class below, did to Darren Till.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it, and my thoughts were that they would counter each other pretty well.
Yeah.
But I feel like like you were saying, Darren Till just didn't show up as well as we had thought. I thought he would have been able to counter a little bit more with his boxing, but he definitely didn't.
No, he didn't, and it was pretty. I don't know. It was just kind of disappointing to watch. It just sucked. I was like, damn, fuck. Like, he had Derek hurt in the third round. He hit him with a good shot, and he just didn't capitalize on it. And what he when he tried to capitalize on, he got very sloppy and just rushed in because Darren just throws mainly just 1-2s, and he's known for that.
He's got very traditional boxing,
And he's
or
known
fundamental.
that left hand is it's a fucking beamer. Like he throws it sharp, he throws it crisp, and he knows how to twist into it really well. But like he hurt Derek because Derek lunges in with these takedowns. Like he makes it very. That's why he got knocked out by Adesanya. It was he just lunges in really really awkwardly and very aggressively, and he leaves himself open for a lot of shots. And Darren Till just kind of he hit him with that 1-2, and he backed him up. And when he went to rush in, he was just kind of he was like Derek was able to get him straight to the ground, and then eventually like you saw Darren, and I don't really get the lack of experience on the ground with him either, though. I mean, the guy lived 4 years in Brazil, speaks perfect Portuguese. Have you ever heard him speak Portuguese?
No, I haven't.
He's
Darren Till?
Yes, he speaks perfect Portuguese. Like he actually has a daughter in Brazil. Like he has a whole family over there.
That's interesting. This is kind of off topic, but this is something I've actually talked to my wife a bit about. I'm really curious as to how other accents sound in different languages. So I would love to hear him speak Portuguese and see if other Portuguese people will be like, whoa, that's like you have an English accent,
Yeah.
even though they're speaking Portuguese.
Yeah. So from what some of the YouTube commenters said is like I'm actually Brazilian and I speak fluent Portuguese and English, and they're like people were like kind of laughing about it. They're like he sounds better when he speaks Portuguese than he speaks normal English. It's like I can understand him better when he speaks Portuguese. He's a scouser, but he gets knocked out, and so he gets fucked up.
He gets choked out.
Yeah, choked out, knocked out, you name it. He's been there.
He'll take 50 losses. He don't care. He'll be great.
Yeah, eventually you need to care. But, I mean, Darren Till says he wants to be one of the greatest of all time. And after a performance like that, it's like you really start considering what you have to do to make you the greatest, you know? And I think with that, it's just it was just a tough loss for him. And he always handles losses very well. But it's like, okay, since you moved up to middleweight, you've only had one win in the division, and that says a lot about where your career is going. I know for the English fighters, it is a little hard for them to get to find good wrestling coaches and stuff like that. They struggle with it, but to show no jiu-jitsu as well. I mean, there was a moment where Derek Brunson was in his half guard, and he wasn't really showing any signs of trying to advance back to full guard or even try to get up. He got popped in the eye pretty good too, and him swelling it up in the first round. And so, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't think Darren Till is all hype, but I feel like there's not the
his stock is definitely declining.
Yeah, it's declining pretty fast. Yeah. And I think also there's no type of advancement he's making to make himself a better fighter.
Sounds like the perfect build-up for a rematch with Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah. Why not? They're both getting beat up by wrestlers.
They're both getting beat up, and they're both losing hype, and I won't say fans, but their stock is definitely has declined. So I don't know. Maybe Jorge will move up.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying,
since he can't beat Usman.
Yeah. What's it called? And Masvidal walks around pretty heavy. You seen him?
Yeah.
You ever seen him outside of fight camp?
It's hard to tell. He's always wearing that stupid robe.
He's got a belly whenever he eats whatever the fuck he wants because he can, and that's probably why he moved up to fucking to welterweight.
He's one of those freaking masters of weight cut.
Yeah, I mean he fucking kills himself to make his weight sometimes.
He does all right though.
Yeah, fuck that. I don't know, man. If you can make your weight cut easier, then do it.
I'm not saying everybody should do it. I'm just saying he can do it without it impacting his performance.
And what's crazy though is he's a little older. You would think that would affect him more. Masvidal's not very young when it comes to the fight game. He's on the other side of 30, and so with Darren Till though, it's just one of those things where it's like, what adjustments are you gonna make to ensure that? Because he said he wanted to be the greatest fighter of all time, and it's like, well, what adjustments are you making to do so? It's the same as I think with I think about like Conor McGregor, right? And so with Conor, it's like, what adjustments are you making to be the better fighter of all time? Like, you're better than every guy at your gym. And I always feel like that's a problem whenever you're the best guy in your gym, because you're consistently just fucking these guys up. You're not getting any better. Like, Mike Perry talked about it too, and this is right before his loss to Max Griffin. That's where the decline really started for Mike Perry. It's just, he says there's only like 2 guys in here that actually like whoop my ass. Besides that, I fuck everybody up. and it's like that's not a good thing. Like it's nothing to
Yeah.
brag about, you know.
We've talked about that before too. It's something that we've always agreed with, but GSP put it into really good words. And
Yeah.
not to bring GSP up again, but sorry, not sorry. How about that reference again? But he says like the best thing about having people who are better than you, but also having people who you're better than, is that you train against the people who are better than you so you can stay sharp, and then
Yeah.
you train against the people who aren't on your level so you can stay creative and find the good balance of both. So if you're only fighting people you're better than, cool, you're relaxed, you're having a good time, but
Yeah.
that relaxation is going to cause you to get knocked out, just like Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, it's like we talked about with Oliver when he was here. You know, he said he was at the gym and he was like, honestly, man, I was beating most of the guys. And he said whenever he switched gyms, I think it was Corley had saw him fight, right?
Yeah.
And so he said when he switched gyms, he's like, I was getting my ass whipped all the
Yeah.
time. And he's like, and you look at him now, dude, he's phenomenal.
He is very sound for
Yeah.
Muay Thai. His Muay Thai is fantastic. Even translating into MMA, there's no like deterioration of his stance, of his form, of his
Yeah.
technique. So yeah, again, just that balance really helps. So yeah, if Darren Till doesn't have that balance, like Mike Perry, similar situation, like you were saying, maybe change camps, like you were saying. You can't find the right people to train with over in the UK. Maybe come to America.
You moved to Brazil for 4 years, so why not move to the U.S.?
Yeah.
You know, move to Canada. Go train with GSP at TriStar. You know how crazy that would be? You know how good he would be if he trained at TriStar? Be phenomenal. But I think, so with Derek Brunson, though, now he just called out Adesanya, and Adesanya just kind of brushed it off like, whatever. But it's like, no, like, this is what happens when you're champion, though. You got to go back and beat these guys that you've already beat. Because you look at Derek Brunson now, he's rolling through these guys.
Yeah.
And so you got Adesanya. I mean, he's kind of doing the same. But, I mean, look what he did to Marvin Vettori. But in fights that it's like, okay, like you should be finishing these guys.
His fight against Marvin Vettori was very lackluster for me.
I agree.
It's great that you can backpedal and counter strike and win fights that way.
Mm-hmm.
But at no point did I think Vettori was hurt or couldn't win that fight.
Yeah.
Vettori was in that fight 100% of the time, and Adesanya couldn't stop him. So,
yeah.
Cool, you're making jokes. You're pretending like his leg punches, for whatever reason, Vettori decided to do those.
Yeah.
You're pretending like those are hurting you, so you cry, oh, man, what a funny joke that your career is becoming roasted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with that performance by him, and Derek Brunson has been impressing me. You look at his fights, like you were saying, he hadn't had a finish in a while. Well, he just got one. So
yeah,
against a top guy like Darren Till, who clearly has to do some work, but he's not done.
Yeah, and so with Derek Brunson, though, I kind of just want to know where he lies now. He's number 5 in the division. I think a fight with him and Jared Cannonier make a lot of sense.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see that because that's two guys who've worked so hard to get back on top.
Yeah.
And they're staying on top now, so now it's like, who gets to stay?
Yeah.
Who gets to be on top after this fight?
Both those guys are about the same age as
well.
And
they're gonna. I feel like if they take that loss, that's a hard one to make another run for the title again.
I think Brunson retires if he loses, though.
Yeah.
There's Kevin Holland's even said there's been rumors that he's gonna retire after his next loss, and I think that's exactly what happens. And so because I feel like that's the fight that makes the most sense, though. Because both those guys are coming off of fights, let them rest up, heal up a little bit. Because I know Jared Cannonier's trying to get in, and Derek Brunson said after the fight, they asked him like, "Who do you want next?" He's like, "Hey man, I don't have to fight anytime soon, man. I'm not broke. Like I don't need to fight."
Must be nice.
And so I'm like, oh, why don't you come fucking work in a warehouse with me since you're not broke? And so no, he'd probably take my job. I don't want him to come and work with me. And
he's a bit more physically able.
Yes, and so he probably I can lift 50 to 75 pounds every fucking day for 10 hours. That's not bad. And he but yeah, I feel like that's the fight that makes the most sense, though, is him and Cannonier, because you have Vettori and Costler already set to fight. The next guy up for the title is going to be Whitaker, and I really want Whitaker to win that fight, but I'm just like, I don't really see how you win that fight.
Yeah.
It's just Adesanya's so long for the way that he's so long and he's so tall for these guys that Whitaker's beat,
Go ahead.
And so, yeah, no, I don't know. So I think with Jared Cannonier and Derek Brunson, I think that should be the fight next for the guy who's gonna fight the winner of those two guys.
Yeah. Um, I could see it being Izzy too, but
Yeah,
Whitaker's so technically sound.
yeah,
The way he throws things, he could win any fight. But when you fight someone like Adesanya, whose striking is on a level that it's all about how much fun they're having, how creative they can be, it's always going to be hard to predict. Just like Michael Page,
right.
it's so hard to predict what's going to happen in that fight.
And so, speaking of middleweights, do you see who the UFC just signed?
Mm-mm.
Alex Bahia, who has
Oh
two
yeah,
knockout wins over Israel Adesanya,
yeah.
and that's a
His
big deal.
in kickboxing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't see how if they, I mean, hopefully Alex Bahia can live up to the hype and come in there and do what he's supposed to do. And
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it before with Valentina Shevchenko and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. We've seen them too. They who's that? Shevchenko has 2 wins in Muay Thai over Joanna. So they end up meeting again at 125, and Shevchenko still won that fight. And as long as Bahia can, I think he already has a fight set, I believe. And if he can live up to the hype and he can get his name up there quick, because I believe that he can. We don't need to ease him into the UFC if he's fought at that level, the same exact level as Adesanya has, you know. Because Adesanya was able to reach that level in less than 3 years and become champion, and
Yeah.
so Bahia is a top tier fighter like he has been in kickboxing. Then give him, like I think
Let him work his way up, but it won't take too long.
yeah, let him work his way up, but I'm okay with if he skips a couple people to get over there, you know.
As long as the fights are promising enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so people are already saying that he's not gonna live up to the hype, and I'm like, man, y'all just love to shit on people, don't you?
Yeah.
But
Look at Paddy Pimblett. And a bunch of fighters are like, yeah, but he's just gonna get knocked out now. It's like, oh, okay, well, go fight him, go knock him out.
Yeah.
This guy tried. He almost had it, and he still got knocked out.
Yeah.
He still got finished trying to finish Paddy Pimblett.
Yeah, it's like the same people who say something about like Adrian Giannis. Oh, he has bad head movement. Like actually, no, he has great head movement. He has amazing hands, especially for MMA. It's just Randy Koss was able to pop him up a little bit, pepper him up, but it's one of those things where it's like they're not always gonna look invincible.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes you're gonna have them look like like a normal fighter.
They're all people.
And so, and I know, speaking of that, it's like I think we talked about is like I think Giannis said that he expected a more kick heavy Costa, but Costa said he was mainly training boxing for that fight. I believe his name's Costa, Randy Costa. That's how it said. And so, yeah, we'll just have to just wait and see with that. I'm excited for that signing though. And so, the last thing I did want to talk about with you is, did you see Brittany Palmer's post about Khabib?
Yes, and I saw the comments, and that's what confused me the most. The issue there is that Khabib said that ring girls are useless and pointless, and think on that whatever you want. But Brittany Palmer, being a ring girl, took a little bit of slight to that, and she tweeted out a meme where it's Smithers from Simpsons backed into a corner by strippers, and the strippers had the label Brittany Palmer and like other ring girls or whoever, and then Smithers was Khabib, and she tweeted that out and said, sorry, not sorry. And all the comments were like hating on Brittany Palmer, like, oh, you realize that this meme is actually on you? It's like, no, it's not. It's making fun of Khabib.
It's because he's afraid of sexy women, apparently.
And it's funny, so I just don't understand why people were hating on her so much for it.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious, and I think what it was is just all in good fun. Who cares? Like, don't take it so serious.
Like, I really doubt she doesn't like Khabib, and Khabib doesn't like her. Like, I doubt there's any issues there.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna fucking see him telling her like, let's wrestle, you know, fucking, I'll smash you. That'd be fucking funny. If he told her that, like, whoa, you can't tell that to women.
It's like, no, my English bed.
So, but yeah, no, man, it's just all in good fun. I mean, I don't know Brittany Palmer. I've never even seen an interview by her, but I'm sure she's probably a pretty nice person. And so, if she wants to poke fun at the whole situation, then let her.
Yeah.
You know. And so, we'll post that meme on the page probably, so y'all can kind of get an idea, so y'all know what it is, and let us know what you think about that. So, yeah, you got any Anything left else at all? Any news at all that's came up?
Not that I'm aware of. Um, nope.
Oh yeah, and shout out to Cameron Smotherman from
Oh yeah,
Metro Fight Club.
Cameron, Eduardo, their other guys. They went undefeated the
Yeah,
other night in Fury.
and I mean stuff like that, especially with the passing of Coach Salsa Lease. I think that's incredible to see. Is to see all these guys go undefeated on a card like that.
Yeah.
So and to mainly get finishes as well. It's awesome, you know. So very happy to see it, and congratulations to those guys. We'll definitely be tuning in again to your next fights.
Oh, and then we got CJ Jimenez's debut. I'm sorry. You got this one.
Okay.
Now I'm sitting in your chair today, so I'm the one messing up the names now.
No, you're good, bro. It comes with the chair, dude.
Yeah.
And so this Tuesday, if you have the time or if you have ESPN Plus, be sure to tune in to Dana White's Contender Series
To watch CJ Vergara.
watch Carlos Vergara, CJ Vergara, take on Bruno Correa for a UFC contract. It's gonna be a very exciting fight. CJ is the current, I believe, Fury FC flyweight champion, and it's just gonna be a really, really good fight. I'm sure both those guys bring it. CJ in his last fight, he fought Jacob Silva in one hell of a fight. Like honestly, this was when I first started watching Fury, was that fight, and so that wasn't that long ago. But I mean, those guys went back and forth, and it was just all around fun fight. So I'm excited to see what happens with that. Bruno's a very, very tough challenge. We've seen him from the Ultimate Fighter Brazil, and so he's gonna be taking on CJ, who just, I mean, he's got that Pete Spratt Muay Thai, trains out of San Antonio, Texas, and yeah, it's just gonna be a fun fight. So definitely tune in to watch that. We are Team CJ all the way. We support our Texans very, very strongly.
And if you're not sure if you like watching Dana White Contender Series, go look at the last episode. I think there was one fight, and it was the first time this has ever happened. Both fighters won a contract, even the guy who lost. They were all such good fights. So they even gave a contract to a loser.
Yeah, 5 contracts went out that day. We saw AJ Fletcher also make his debut.
Yeah.
He's a Fury FC veteran as well.
Yeah, he looked real good.
Yeah, I think he got a knockout, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, definitely tune in to watch CJ win his UFC contract, and we'll definitely be tuning in, and we can't wait to talk about that. So, any last thoughts or comments?
No.
Nope. Well, all right, guys. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all be safe and take care. Until the next time.